there, my name is Megan and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a spoiler-free review for Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. Dark Matter follows a man named Jason who is a local physics professor at the university. Jason lives with his wife Daniela and their 14-year-old son. He adores both of them. When Jason was in his late 20s, he was working on some new technology that was thought to revolutionize physics as we know it. When he found out Daniela was pregnant with their son, he decided to leave the physics department and instead start a family. One night when Jason is walking home from the local bar after visiting a friend who's just won a very prestigious science award, he is kidnapped by a man wearing a geisha mask. The man seems to know everything about Jason, where he lives, where he works, his background, his family, and he starts asking him all of these strange questions. He takes Jason to an abandoned warehouse, injects him with a drug, and when Jason wakes up, he is in a laboratory surrounded by people who all seem to know him, but who he doesn't know at all. Jason soon realizes that the world he woke up in is not his own world, and the life he is living is not his own life. Jason embarks on a journey to find his own world and his own family once again, and will do everything possible to make that happen. Next, I'm going to be talking about the characters. So there's basically only one major character in this book, and that is Jason, our protagonist, from whose point of view we are reading. And I really like Jason. He is very clever. He's very resourceful. Despite these strange things that are happening and the kind of mental breakdown he had when he first woke up in this new life, he actually gets it all together, and he is able to stay kind of in a clear head for most of the book, and he has his objective of getting home, and that's what he focuses on, and he doesn't allow other things to kind of cloud that objective. So I like Jason as a character overall. He definitely wasn't like a young, spry man, so I enjoyed reading from his perspective. He's like a middle-aged professor, and he does have to do like a lot of physical stuff, so it's just fun to read about. And he is presented with a lot of different temptations, especially with regards to women and, cheating on his wife and kind of giving up. And I felt like he was able to stay strong in those situations and overcome those temptations. So overall, I felt like Jason was a very intelligent, very strong, both emotionally and physically guy, despite the horrible circumstances that he found himself in. Next, I'm going to talk about the things that I liked in this book. So the main things that I liked are the themes that this story touched upon. So right away, I was able to identify the theme of valuing your family, where no matter what you have in life, if you don't have people that you care about and love, then life is kind of meaningless, because Jason really cares about his wife. He cares about his son to the ends of the earth. He will do anything for them. And then we have other characters who have spent their whole life, going after their goals in their career and things like that. And then they kind of step back and realize that they're lonely, and really there's more important things in life than career and work, but having relationships with other people. So I really liked that the story focused on those relationships and why relationships with family and friends and other people are so important and fulfilling in our lives as humans. So I thought that was a really great theme. Another theme that I really enjoyed was how decisions that we make every day affect the trajectory of our lives, how one small decision could really, really alter our entire life and the paths that we take in future decisions. And that theme was interwoven throughout this entire book. I would say that's mostly what this story was about, and I thought that it was a really interesting portrayal of why it's so important to make good decisions, and even if we don't, how that affects people. The next thing I really liked about this book was kind of how it made you think as the story progressed. It really made me think about, what happens if I had taken a different path, if I had made a different decision, if I had taken the road, not taken, like Robert Frost's poem, what would have happened? So I feel like it really does kind of help you self-reflect on things that you've done in your own life. And that's really impressive when a book can make you sit back and think and self-reflect, because I found found myself doing that, just like Jason did it, but it's still always interesting to wonder, what if I'd done this differently? I know all of us have at one point or another thought, what if I hadn't done this? Or what if I had done this? How would my life be different? So I absolutely loved reading about that because it's a very human thought and a very human emotion. The next thing I liked about this book was just the science aspects, and it dealt with the theory of multiple universes, or a multiverse, or the fourth dimension, and that's a very interesting concept for me. It's something that is portrayed a lot in like movies and TV shows and other books, so it's not something that's necessarily new to me, but it's still an interesting concept and one that I find fascinating. So if you're someone that is into that type of science fiction and speculative, ideas, then I do think that this book will speak to you. The next thing I liked was how fast-paced this book was. I read Recursion last year, and I found that book super fast-paced, and this one was too. And I feel like for a science fiction book, it definitely was not bogged down in details, scientific details. The plot moves super fast, and Blake Crouch only gives us the science that we need to know in order to understand what's happening. So I feel like some science fiction can be like super heavy, and to a point where I might not understand, the science or what the author's trying to say and how it's affecting what's happening in the story. But I did not think that was the case with this book, and I feel like if you're someone that is just getting into science fiction, that Blake Crouch would be a great author to start with, because he makes the ideas of the science very accessible to the reader. Having said that, the fact that his books are very fast-paced made me really enjoy the last quarter of the book the most, and I can't really tell you what happened without giving away spoilers, but I found that to be the most interesting part of the book because I wasn't expecting it, and there were more than one antagonist that was presented, and they are all going after Jason, and I just found the explanation for that very interesting, and like I said, I wasn't expecting it, so when it happened and all of those antagonists kept appearing, I was like, whoa, what's going on? And it just was a really great part of the book, and definitely my favorite part. And lastly, this book, despite being labeled a science fiction book, I think it's a romance book. It's definitely a subgenre romance book because Jason absolutely adores his wife, Daniela. He will do anything for her. He thinks about her all the time. He just dotes on her hand and foot. And when he's separated from her, his thoughts never leave Daniela, and how he wants to see her, and how he will hunt her throughout all of these different worlds in order to find his Daniela. And it was very romantic. I just loved reading about that. It read like a romance book to me. So the whole reason that Jason was trying to get home was to be with his wife. So when you really think about it, not just his life, not his life in Chicago, not his house, not his car, but to be with his wife and his son. So it really shows you how much he loved his wife, his family, and how it doesn't matter where you are, you'll still feel at home as long as you have your family around you. Now I'm going to talk about the things that I didn't like so much, which isn't that much. So the first one is that I found this story slightly predictable, which was disappointing for me because I've heard that, Blake Crouch is just this mind-blowing author, and I felt like this story has been done before, it's been told before, and at the beginning when Jason first gets kidnapped and wakes up in this new life, I'm pretty sure everybody knew who the kidnapper was and who was doing this. I don't see how you couldn't have realized that. So I immediately knew, and that kind of took a little bit of mystery and a little bit of suspense out of the book that could have been there. And I felt like that also would have been a good twist at the end if it had been revealed that it wasn't that person that was so obvious, but the obvious choice of who the kidnapper was, that's who it was. So I felt like that was a bit underwhelming. And like I said, this story has been told before. It's nothing new, at least to me personally. And there have been concepts in a TV show I used to watch called Fringe. My husband and I binged the show a couple years ago. It came out in 2007, and I don't think we watched it in 2007. And I feel like so many of the plot devices used in this story with regards to like the multiverse and things like that were in Fringe. So when I read the book, I was like familiar with those ideas, and that was kind of disappointing for me because it wasn't something that was necessarily new and fresh. However, I still really like this book. I really liked revisiting the science of the multiverse and the different thoughts that the story provoked with regards to what if you had made a different decision, what if, and it really made me step back and think about some of the decisions that I've made in life. So I really enjoy stories that make you do that, and all in all, like I said, I really enjoyed it. I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. And if you're someone who enjoys science fiction that's really quick to read, if you're someone who doesn't read a lot of science fiction but are looking to start, then I would highly recommend Dark Matter and also Recursion, because I liked it just as much as Dark Matter. And I will probably pick up anything else that Blake Crouch puts out in the future. Okay, you guys, so let me know in the comments what you thought about Dark Matter if you've read it. Also, let me know if you have any recommendations of good science fiction books, especially standalone, because I'm looking to read some additional standalone sci-fi. Just comment down below, and I will see you guys soon in another video. Goodbye.